Hello everyone, I'm Whitesnake. I'm going to show you a little trick today. Up front, here it is. So I press my fire button, it turns ESP on. I let go of my fire button, it turns ESP off. If I just tap it real quick, it doesn't toggle on like it normally would. And I'm going to show you how to do that. First, let me explain real quick what ESP is. So ESP, it does a bunch of algorithms and it compares your input to the ideal input for tracking a target. Basically, if it thinks that you are trying to track a target, it's going to reward a proper input, and it's going to do that by dampening your inputs so that you don't overshoot. And that's pretty much what it is. So here we have no ESP, right? So just, my pure input gets translated into the game, and, there's rotational inertia and all that stuff. But with ESP, you'll see with just a constant input here, it slows near my target, and that's to prevent me from overshooting. And eventually the reason it speeds back up is because it realizes I'm not trying to track the target. So as you can probably guess, while that is very useful for trying to hit the target, when you're not trying to hit the target, it can cause you some frustration when you're trying to do other things. So it's kind of a trade-off, right? You can have ESP on and it is definitely helpful for hitting the target, but it does mess with your inputs. Since they've implemented the ESP toggle, which wasn't there for a long time, many have realized that you pretty much can't be competitive without ESP on. Virtually nobody does it. It's just too good at helping you aim to turn it off. Some people, I think some of the keyboard and mouse users turn it off, but other than that, most people have to leave it on. In fact, a lot of people think that decoupled mode isn't very useful right now only because ESP doesn't work in that mode. Anyway, so I kind of figured out a way that works for me to kind of get the best of both worlds. And I just figured out recently, so I'm still playing around with it. But basically, I use repeaters, right? So I hold down the firing button a lot because that's the only way to get any kind of damage on the target. But what it does is when I'm not trying to shoot the target, ESP is off and I can do all my movements and all that. And when I am trying to shoot the target, I'll hold the fire button, obviously, and then ESP comes on and it steadies my aim. And that's pretty much exactly what it is. So like I was saying, I wouldn't recommend this for people who use cannons, because with any kind of cannon like a tarantula or even maybe an M4A, you're going to put your pip on the target, then you're going to squeeze the button, at least theoretically, unless you hold it down, which some people do. But with repeaters, there's spread, right? And you really are just kind of going for an area of effect, almost spray and pray. So you want to just get your pips near the target and then just hold the trigger down, right? So that's what this is effective for, because you can see, I can move my nose all around here freely and nothing's messed with, and then as soon as I start to fire, now it steadies up on my target. So that's kind of the idea here. And this may seem like, well, do I really need the free moving around the target? And I think a lot of people would say yes, because you'll start to notice it, especially when you're doing things like, let's say Rouge and I end up circling each other, right? And we're doing, I'm strafing left and she's strafing to her left, which is my right. And if I want this to stop and I want to basically cut her off, so go this way, with ESP on, that's going to be a big problem. I'll kind of show you what that looks like, but I wouldn't do this. So yeah, see, it kind of gets stuck there. Also, sometimes, especially with the bigger ships, you'll be shooting at a target and you'll have it, somewhere over here, center mass, but you want to shoot towards the cockpit, and ESP just kind of fights you and won't let you really do that because it thinks that you're about to overshoot and that you don't want to overshoot, but really you're just trying to move the pips up on the cockpit. So this way you can, all you would have to do is you'd be firing, right, and then you just stop firing and then move and then fire some more. So I find I've just been messing around with it today, and I find it works pretty well for me. Okay, so what I'm going to do is it's a two-step process. First, actually technically it's a three-step process. First, you have to change the default button behavior for the ESP toggle from smart toggle, which means it's going to decide whether it thinks you're trying to hold it down and then release, or if you're trying to toggle it real quick. To hold, which basically means like anytime the button is unpressed, it's going to be off. Anytime it's pressed, it's going to be on. Okay, then you have to, if you want to do it this way, you have to bind ESP to your firing button. I recommend, if you use the mix loadout, to put it on your repeaters button, because that makes the most sense. And then one more thing, when you first get into the game, it's going to look like this with ESP on. And anytime you hit the toggle, it's going to turn ESP off, which is the opposite of what you want when you're firing, right? So the way you fix that is you go up here into the options menu, and you'll see flight targeting ESP, and then you just have to click it. So it'll be on yes, you click it to no, and then the default behavior will be off like that. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to put the XML code. You don't need a script or anything, just the XML code. It's a custom XML file for the key bindings that are in game, and I'm going to put that in the description, and maybe a short walkthrough in text format for everybody. That's pretty much it. So hopefully some other people get some use out of this, but I think that I like this way. All right, thanks, bye.